It's not the trauma that destroys us, it's the silence. How does a 14-year-old boy end up in a battlefield? Walking through front of the line, knowing his next steps will be his last. In 1980, Saddam Hussein attacked Iran. I was 14 years old, child soldier on a suicide mission to dismantle landmine. It's in middle of frightening night on a battlefield. The noise is deafening. I can hear bullets whistling past my ears. I can smell the gunpowder and chemical weapon pouring from the sky. One of my friends beside me steps on a landmine and blows up. The impact of that explosion throws me a few meters away. For a moment, everything is silence. I can't breathe. I'm terrified. I can't go back and say, I'm sorry, I changed my mind, I'm just a kid. And I can't go through with my mission. What should I do now? What would you do? I picked up my AK-47, I put it in my left arm, and I shot myself to save my life. Again, I was 14 years old. The impact of that explosion, it was very traumatic. I had 3 major surgeries and 93 stitches. After a few months, my physical wound healed, but I had no idea the impact of psychological effect that would have on me for years to come. You see, my mother was 11 years old when she married my father, who was 32. She had me when she was 13. I was separated from her when I was 6 months old. By the time I was 9 years old, I was sexually assaulted, beaten, psychologically abused. At the age of 14, I was a war veteran, and at 15, I forced into marriage. According to Time magazine, backed by American Psychological Association, up to 60% of all PTSD victims end up developing chemical dependency. My drinking got so bad that I got caught by Iranian authority in Syria, Damascus. Alcohol was against Islam and against the new regime. I was scared. I ran. I escaped from Iran to Istanbul. From Istanbul, I went to East Germany. From East Germany, I jumped into the midnight train and I went to West Germany. I became refugee in a refugee camp for 2.5 years. While I was in Germany, I, of course, drank and drug, and to kill the pain, for the first time, I experienced racism. At this time, I'm emotionally fragile. People would come to me and say, "What are you doing in my country? Go back." At this time, I feel like I'm not white enough, I'm not black enough, I'm not good enough, so I better kill myself. So I tried. I ended up in hospital. You know, in alcohol, in addiction and trauma coaching, we talk about geographical change. The idea that we can we can change our location. Like we can change and escape the way we feel by changing our location. My worldwide tour of refugee camp ended up in Canada in 1988. But I really wanted to live a better life, but I didn't know. I was looking for a solution, but I didn't know what was the problem. And there's so many of us that we have no idea the impact of trauma and addiction that has on us. I've been to 17 treatment centers, 29 detoxes, psych ward, homelessness, and finally, my last treatment center, I'm in this motel room with cockroaches and mouse, and my life is almost finished. And I couldn't handle it anymore. I just missed my son's wedding, and I just fell down to my knees, and I said, I don't know who you are. And I said, I don't know what you call yourself, God, Jesus, Allah, Buddha. Either kill me or save me. The next day, a couple of my friends, they came, picked me up. That was my last treatment center. And my mission since then has been to recover and help other people. As a result of that, for 5 years, every week, trauma group, counseling, 12-step program, exercise, meditation, anything that it could help me. I've been speaking, I spoke to over thousands of people, listened to thousands of people, to their story. Who would have known all the pain and suffering that I went through one day become an asset that I can help someone else? As a result of that, I was encouraged to write a book about my life, which I did. And that by itself was very therapeutic. Like there was a time that I was writing, and I cried, and I cried, and I write. And it was a huge healing. You know, my topic being not being silenced, in our history shown the things that people raised up and spoke, and spoke the truth and not give up. Like Rosa Parks. Refuse to change, to get up and go back of the bus. That action changed the whole history of our human being here. What's your change? What's your silence that you're keeping? You know, I learned few things through my experience of healing. The biggest one was and is vulnerability. We cannot change, we cannot grow without being vulnerable. As a result of being vulnerable, I find connection. And through connection, we can find love, compassion. And through compassion and love, we can remove to change and any challenges, emotional challenges we experience in life. So I encourage you to have a compassion conversation about trauma and addiction. Do not fear the dark. That's where the light lives. Thank you.